It's recorded now. Alright, Wednesday. Inflation rates for France, and then PPI for Euro dollar. Yeah, man, that happened last time for the webinar that we did too. The same exact thing. Yeah, at least it's just starting the news right now. The first few minutes. PPI Wednesday morning, New York Open. That's going to be another big day. Back-to-back big days. Oh, and there is high impact news for GBP as well at the same time. Wednesday is going to be a very, very volatile day. And then in Asia session, 2 hours in Asia session, we have Australian AUD unemployment rates. Thursday, there is building permits for the USD, interest rate decisions for Indonesia, inflation rates for Italy. During New York session, shortly after the building permits news, there is European Central Bank interest rate decision, and that's going to be very volatile, as well as a press conference 30 minutes after, and then President Lagarde speaking as well, about an hour and 30 minutes after that. Wednesday is going to be another big day, and then Thursday, there is core inflation rates for the euro, a few hours in the London session, and then the Michigan consumer sentiment news, which is high impact as well. Yeah, during Thursday, there is main refinancing rate and monetary policy statement for the euro, all during New York Open, and then the press conference, and then Friday there's really not too much except for the US dollar news. That's really it. Alright, so we're going to do some fresh markups on gold and NASDAQ and USD CAD. I'm going to start with CAD. We're already on here. Start the week and just get rid of everything. We can see that there is some type of double bottom type pattern that was made on the weekly, but that's not really too relevant at this moment in time. There is a major area of supply up here that price is approaching, and this is a make or break point for the US dollar. This is either going to be a lower high point, a swing high, and come down back to these major lows, and possibly break them down to here. It's a nice area right here and right in this point. Some good areas of structure and some key levels here. If we go to the monthly time frame, go up one more time, we can see that right here is very important. If it breaks above, we have another major level up here at 142, 1.141, 1.42. There it is. That would be a, how many pips is that from here? Be a 300 pip move. So it is possible if we break above this area, price could extend further, which would be near the 2020 highs. That is possible, but I almost think that USD CAD is going to reject from here. That'd be nice. Oh, that is okay. Okay, yeah, that is very important. This area is very important. It's a higher time frame area. It hasn't been up this high since, well, I guess 3 years almost now. Very strong level of supply up here, so it is very important to take this into consideration. Because if price does get driven up here, it's most likely just going to tap and melt. But right here is important, but obviously there's a lot of liquidity up here, and then there's obviously liquidity down here. We need price to reject strongly right from this area. Even if it goes to the zone, we need some type of strong bearish engulfing candle, like right in this area here. Something like this needs to happen from this price or up in this area of supply. Last week I didn't really think that price would get driven up again once it got pushed down to these lows at 1.37, 1.367, where we were taking our profits, but it did. We'll back up a bit onto the 12-hour. There is intraday structure right here. Most recent higher low point at 1.36, 1.35 price range. This is where I was talking about where we took profits on this move. Right right in this range. That was a higher low point. Had break resistance and had a nice impulse move right here to move higher. I believe this was, yeah, where were we looking at? Right in this point is what I was referring to. Right here on Friday, we created a higher low point from this area that needed a break in order to continue lower. We can see there's kind of a pullback from this major high point with some rejection, but I don't know if it's enough to continue lower. Oh, to switch, you literally type the number in on the screen. So that if I want to go to 4 hour, type in 4H, and then if I want to go lower, 2H. Saves it so you don't have to keep, exiting and then going full screen. Yeah, there's definitely something right here, an intraday level of supply here. It's very helpful indeed. Oops. Let's go a bit lower. It does seem like we might get a move down to this possible order block here, or even down to this major level support, 1.37 price range once again. That could have been a lower high point right here. After we hit this level support, a move up, create a lower high, and then the next move, we might get that break down to this point here, like I was seeing. But right here, this area is very important. At market open, we might get a reaction from here, or might break lower. But if we break above these highs, we have a strong possibility of going up into that higher time frame area of supply. But currently, I would say I am bearish, just based on how gold is moving. Gold has absolutely exceeded what I thought would happen. So there actually might be a pullback on gold. If that does happen, then we could see that move up on CAD. But just looking at the 4 hour time frame, you got a nice rejection out of this area, and the next candle can either tap right into it and reject, or we just open bearish. And based on the lower time frames, we have some evidence for that as well. So just based on how this closed, I really think we're just going to open bearish and push down first, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't really matter what the first move does at market open. It matters what happens after that. If there's rejections, or if it's making higher lows or higher highs, or lower lows and lower highs in this area. Yeah, if we go to the weekly, that same exact level, we could tap right there, or if we break through, there's another area where the market could reject from. And obviously, if we engulf this entire candle and come into this area of supply, this area of demand, we most likely would continue lower, as that would be a strong bearish engulfing candle and be a break of structure and so on and so forth. But we'll be watching this area though. This is very important. But based on how this closed, like this is a retest area right where that blue line is. Essentially, if price wants to move bullish still, just a little tap, weekly wick, and then see that move up into the higher time frame area of supply, which this is very likely just based on how it closed on the higher time frame. There's just some clues on the lower time frame that we could pull back. It could be short term, but if structure breaks, it's going to line up with the overall higher time frame. But we'll see. Like I said, it really just how it reacts during market open. Gold. I wouldn't rub everything on gold, but man, what an absolute crazy chart. We're gonna go to single screen real quick. Starting the weekly, you could see that price rejected from this major area of support at 1810, created a nice wick rejection, and ultimately continued higher. This is a nice retest spot, and that is where we were looking at for a few weeks for the overall target, and then possibly 1790 if that broke, but it looks like 1810 was it. Just based off the weekly time frame, it looks like gold just wants to shoot up to 1920, 1900 price range. We could, based on how this wick is, we might come back down and fill that during this week. On the monthly, we're not completely bullish yet, but we do have bullish price action, and this kind of tweezer bottom candle pattern, but that's not totally relevant. If we look at the higher time frame, as we are, and we measure the Fib, use the Fibonacci's like this, we can see we're at 38.2 area. And if price wants to go bearish, if we don't break above this 1920 range where this area of supply is, we see that move up, because the lower time frame is a clear range, so it really looks like it's just going to drive higher. Could see a rejection here and then a move back down to the 1750, 1705 range. 1790 would be first, where we were seeing right at this point over here. But if price wants to continue bullish, and this is the major higher low point, and we would just essentially just flip the fibs how they are, from the swing low to swing high, and then potentially where it's at 38.2, we could see the 2000 price range, 2040 price range by next week or two, or sometime this month, possibly next month. There's still a solid 2.5 weeks left for this trading month, so we really could just continue driving higher the rest of this month, especially if we break above this area of supply, which is definitely possible. But just based off this, going off the daily and weekly time frame, you can see a clear range. You can see it break a structure right here on the daily time frame. We need another candle to confirm that, because the next one could reject and ultimately just break lower. But we do have a nice break above right here, which is what really matters. Now if we look at the weekly, we might just pull back and tap that level, or slightly go below it to like 1840 possibly. 1840 on the 8 hour time frame is right here, which would be right below that candle low. We wouldn't want it to come down that low. Let's see if there's anything else in the lower time frame. Yeah, so this would be a higher low. You can see on the lower time frame some structure where this was higher low point, higher high, higher low, higher high. We could see a pullback to the 1840 range, be like a retest, and then a possible move higher up into this area of supply, which I really do see happening. It looks very clear. There's not too much here after this point at 1880, 1885 price range. Right where it's at, the fact that price made a higher high, we should expect a possible higher low point, but price may just extend higher ultimately because of the fact that it's just bullish, and a lot of times when it opens on Sunday, she just continues going. But I would like to see a pullback. 1840 would be a steeper retracement, but it might only tap 1855, just a perfect tap, because there's a lot of buyers in this market right now. A lot of people are having FOMO for missing out on this. What was it, a 600 pip move, 500 pip move? Yeah, 570 from the low. So a lot of people are definitely wanting to buy gold still. Just it matters from where. So I guess you'd call this 1840 range, this little area fair value gap right here, perfect retest area, and possibly this area of resistance as possible support as continuation. So 1855, and going to be watching 1840. Going to delete these other alerts though, because I don't really need them anymore. Already happened. Now let's zoom out just a little bit. If 1810 breaks, there's obviously a very clear range to the downside, but just based off how structure is now, I don't really see it coming down quite yet. But you can see there's something right here, 1770, and there's something at 1790. Yep, no worries, it'll be up later. It'll be up later. Yep, have a great Sunday, my friend. Yeah, but we could see the move driven up to this area of supply here, and that's ultimately what I'm targeting. So take profit 1, 1885. This breaks, strong move up to 1920, 1940 price range, and if that breaks, we could see prices extend and reach to the $2,000 price range. So right here, and then possibly even higher up here. If we go on the daily, we can see more candlestick data. Right at this point, and we can create this area as an area of supply and extend that, and here we are, which gives us a $2,000 price point, which would be the highs from April 2022. But yeah, you can clearly see this on gold though. Just looks like a strong confluence to move higher. There's a lot of bullish confirmation here, especially that break of structure on the daily. It's going to be a really good buy setup. And that'd be the exact opposite of what we're seeing on CAD. CAD looks like it was going to go lower, as I was saying. Let's check out the NASDAQ, and then lastly we can check out the DXY, and just to get an overall better idea on what's going to happen for the dollar. Alright, so we're going to go to a single screen here, and looking at the NASDAQ 100, we can see a few things. I am not going to completely erase everything on this chart, as a lot of things are very relevant still, but we're going to take off a few here. Let's go down one more time frame to the daily. Yeah, we're going to be taking off a few things that aren't necessarily the most relevant at the moment. Starting with the monthly time frame, we can see last month there was this nice wick rejection here, and now we can see this month we pushed up, rejected strongly, and started to move bearish. Now this does not mean that the NASDAQ is overall bearish quite yet, but it is giving some confirmations that it may want to move lower, but we're at a point of a retest area. Okay, as you can see, if we move this area here, based on the higher time frame, this is a break of structure and then a possible retest. Okay, if we go down lower to the daily time frame, what do we see? We see this area being tested. We see rejection, move up, move down, rejection again. And this is now the new monthly low point, as we have not been this low this month up until Friday. Friday is where price closed at this point, at this low point now. Let's continue cleaning up this chart. We have an area of supply right up here at 123500 price range. We zoom out on the daily, that'll be the wick. Yeah, perfect, absolutely perfect. We could even change the zone to right here. This is what's most relevant, the most recent swing high, lower high point right here. So let's zoom out some on the 4 hour. Let's adjust this. This is better. Right at the top of the range. Let's adjust this some. Beautiful. Okay, so currently we can see prices reacting from this area. We don't know if it's going to hold or if it's going to break lower. We have some clues that we may want to continue higher though, because look, right here, where this blue line is, break a structure to the upside, right? Price broke this point based on the intraday time frame and made a new higher high point. Okay, so this is a break of structure. Price then needs to correct and find a new higher low point within this new trend. Okay, so this would be the move, new bullish trend. I'm using the Fibonacci's to just look at possible retracement areas. You don't really use this tool that much, but just look at how they line up. The Fib extensions line up with these key levels, both of them. The area of supply, area of resistance, area of supply, area of resistance. Okay, so that gives me confluence that price wants to continue higher. Next, strong wick rejection from right here, from this previous low point. Kind of looks like the start of a double bottom, or it looks like just a sell trap, an algo setup, whatever you want to call it. We can see right here price broke structure. Okay, so next, after price break structure, you need to expect a higher low point to be formed somewhere. So in this entire area, in this retracement, there's two high probability points price can react from, which is this blue line that it did but failed to make a new high, and then down at this point too, where the new trend started from. So what we could expect to see is a move up like this. Okay, move back into this zone, and if we break above this point, 1240, that'd be another break of structure into new higher high point, to possibly up here to this area of supply. Now this does seem really likely, as based off the price action, if price was going to continue lower, it most likely wouldn't have rejected as it did from that low point. Looks like it was just a liquidity grab, and this just looks like your typical correction slash retracement, and ultimately we should see prices move up to the 12700 price range, possibly 12800. market open, I would like to see, yeah, just on the lower time frame, you can see these buyers stepping in, these bullish candles that we really need to see, this bullish price action we need to see for a overall transition. But I would like to see a possible pullback on this level of resistance in the zone and a buy, and we could most likely just hold this all the way through to New York session. I mean, you can see it, just a nice setup just like this. Yeah, this is a really good trade. It's a really good trade opportunity, and if we end up breaking here and going to this high point, you know, our risk reward is further increased. But ultimately, this is a really good setup. I am bullish on the NASDAQ, and we can go to split screen real quick. It's the hourly time frame. As you can see, engulfing candle, higher low, change of character, you could call it. Let's go in the 15 minutes so you can see it. Change of character, price failed to break, and looks like it's going to keep driving higher. Alright, but that's it for this week, guys. I will have the annotated charts sent into the premium channel, and I'll have the USD CAD sent into the free channel. Remember, the premium channel receives the XAU, the gold analysis, the NASDAQ analysis, and the CAD analysis, and the free channel only receives the FOREX analysis. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and look out for the new YouTube video I am uploading later today as well. And let's get after it. Let's milk these markets this week and have a solid trading week. Have a great Sunday.